Not every woman is your ally. How to overcome mother wounds and heal from toxic relationships. Meet Annie. She's radiant, compassionate, and a firm believer in the power of sisterhood. Growing up, Annie's mother always told her, "Women stick together. We protect each other." That belief became Annie's foundation, shaping how she approached every friendship and relationship in her life. But life has a cruel way of exposing cracks in even the strongest foundations. Annie had a best friend, Claire, someone she trusted like family. They shared secrets, dreams, and fears. When Annie fell in love with Michael, Claire cheered her on, or so Annie thought. Months into the relationship, Annie began noticing odd behavior. Claire was distant, dismissive, and strangely competitive. Then came the crushing revelation: Claire had been secretly undermining Annie, spreading rumors, and even pursuing Michael behind her back. Annie's world shattered. The betrayal didn't just hurt, it made her question everything. Why did Claire, someone she loved, do this? Why didn't she see the signs? But that was only part of Annie's pain. Growing up, her mother had unknowingly planted seeds of self-doubt with comments like, "You're too sensitive," or "Don't trust other women too easily." These words echoed louder now, making Annie wonder if she'd ever been enough for anyone to truly love or protect. Sleepless nights turned into days of anguish. Annie felt the weight of betrayal not just from Claire, but from her own mother's subtle criticisms and emotional distance. This wasn't just about losing a friend, it was about confronting the deeper wounds she'd carried her entire life. Realizing not every woman is your ally is one of life's hardest lessons. It's a pain that feels personal, isolating, and sometimes too heavy to bear. But there's hope. Healing doesn't mean forgetting, it means learning, growing, and finding strength in your scars. In this video, we'll dive into how these mother wounds and toxic relationships shape your self-worth. More importantly, you'll learn how to break free from the cycle, rebuild trust, and create meaningful, healthy connections that nurture your soul. Radiant Rebels, if this resonates with you, make sure to subscribe. We're creating a space for powerful discussions about self-worth, relationships, and healing. Let's grow together, one step at a time. Now, let's unpack how these wounds form and, more importantly, how you can start rewriting your story. Recognizing the hidden wounds. Mother wounds aren't always loud or obvious, sometimes they're the quiet whispers of doubt left behind by unmet needs. These wounds form when a mother, intentionally or not, creates an emotional void. It could be through harsh words, withholding affection, or setting impossible expectations. For Annie, her mother often criticized her for being too sensitive and told her to toughen up. On the surface, it seemed like advice, but over time, it taught Annie to question her emotions. Instead of trusting her instincts, she learned to suppress them, convincing herself that seeking support or love made her weak. This left Annie craving validation. She worked tirelessly to be the perfect friend, the perfect partner, and the perfect daughter. But deep inside, she feared rejection, making her an easy target for toxic relationships like the one she had with Claire. Signs to look for. Recognizing these hidden wounds is the first step toward healing. Have you ever found yourself overanalyzing your worth based on others' opinions? Trying to earn love through constant people-pleasing? Feeling like you can't trust other women or even yourself? Annie's story is a reflection of this. She wanted so badly to believe in Claire's friendship and Michael's loyalty that she ignored the red flags. She second-guessed her intuition, thinking, "Am I being too sensitive again?" This is how mother wounds manifest, through cycles of self-doubt and misplaced trust. Why it's not your fault. Radiant rebels, here's something you need to hear: these wounds are not your fault. They're shaped by experiences you couldn't control as a child. Annie didn't choose to grow up in an environment where emotional support was scarce, just like you didn't choose the dynamics that may have shaped your early years. But here's the empowering part: while you couldn't control how these wounds were formed, you can control how you heal. Annie learned that she didn't have to carry the weight of her past forever. She could start redefining her relationships, starting with the one she had with herself. Healing begins when you decide to break free from old patterns and reclaim your worth. Toxic female relationships, recognizing the red flags. Spotting frenemies. Not every smile is genuine, and not every friend has your back. Frenemies often wear a mask of support while secretly harboring jealousy or a desire to control. It might look like backhanded compliments, dismissing your achievements, or subtly making you doubt yourself. For Annie, Claire's red flags were small at first: jokes that felt a little too pointed, casual dismissals of her dreams, and the way she always found a way to center herself in conversations. These behaviors were easy to brush off as quirks until the betrayal became undeniable. The cost of ignoring the signs. Turning a blind eye to these subtle signs can drain your emotional energy and chip away at your confidence. Annie spent months questioning her own worth, wondering why she wasn't enough for Claire to treat her kindly. The damage extended beyond their friendship, making Annie hesitant to trust other women or even her own instincts. Ignoring toxic behavior doesn't make it disappear. Instead, it festers, creating a cycle where you tolerate mistreatment, second-guess your boundaries, and settle for less than you deserve. Why loyalty isn't always deserved. Here's a truth that can be hard to accept: loyalty should never be blind. The idea that women must always support each other, no matter what, can sometimes trap you in toxic dynamics. Being a radiant rebel means recognizing that true solidarity is built on respect and trust, not blind allegiance. Annie learned that real friends celebrate your wins and stand by you during your struggles. Those who tear you down or compete with you aren't allies, they're barriers to your growth. Breaking the cycle and setting boundaries. Healing begins with awareness. The first step to breaking free is to acknowledge the pain. Annie found clarity when she stopped blaming herself for Claire's actions and started naming the betrayal for what it was. Owning your story doesn't mean living in the hurt, it means reclaiming your power to change the narrative. Practical boundary setting tips. Boundaries are your armor in a world that sometimes asks too much. Here's how you can protect your peace. Be direct. If someone's behavior bothers you, express it clearly and calmly. When you behave like this, I feel emotion. I need you to boundary. Limit access. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Reduce interactions with those who drain your energy. Enforce consequences. If someone crosses a line, follow through. Distance yourself if necessary. It's not about punishment but self-respect. Self-preservation isn't selfish. Putting yourself first is an act of self-love, not selfishness. Annie learned this the hard way, but it transformed her life. When you prioritize your well-being, you teach others how to treat you and create space for relationships that uplift rather than drain you. Healing isn't about shutting people out, it's about inviting the right people in. Rebuilding trust and finding true allies. Learning to trust yourself first. Trust begins within. Reconnecting with your intuition is like strengthening a muscle, it grows with use. Annie discovered that her inner voice, the one she had silenced for so long, was always there, waiting to guide her. She started small by honoring her gut feelings about situations and people, gradually rebuilding her confidence. When you trust yourself, you set the foundation for trusting others. It's about believing in your ability to make decisions that protect your peace and prioritizing your well-being over the fear of being alone. Qualities of healthy relationships. True allies are those who celebrate your victories without envy and stand by you during your lowest moments without judgment. Healthy relationships feel like ease, not effort. Look for people who communicate openly and honestly. Respect your boundaries without question. Lift you up without expecting anything in return. Annie found her tribe when she stopped chasing approval and started observing actions. The friends who showed up without being asked, listened without interrupting, and encouraged her to grow were the ones who deserved a place in her life. The power of letting go. Letting go of toxic connections isn't a loss, it's a gift you give yourself. For Annie, cutting ties with Claire wasn't easy, but it was necessary. She realized that holding on to relationships out of guilt or habit was only keeping her stuck. Letting go isn't about bitterness or revenge, it's about making room for the love and support you truly deserve. It's an act of self-respect that says, I am worth more than this. Empowered reflection. Healing mother wounds and breaking free from toxic relationships is a process, not a quick fix. Each step you take toward recognizing your worth and setting boundaries brings you closer to the life you deserve, a life filled with peace, love, and authenticity. Annie's story is proof that even from the deepest betrayals, you can rise stronger, wiser, and more radiant than ever. If this message resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to join our growing community of Radiant Rebels, where we empower each other to heal, grow, and thrive. Your journey to healing starts with you, and you deserve a life filled with love and authenticity. Radiant Rebels, this is your time to shine. Embrace your strength, and never forget, you are your greatest ally.